Hello, good morning. This is Alvin Omahan and I'll be reporting about System Theory of Management for MBA 612 Management under Doctoresa Josefina Zenara Celebre. Good morning. System Theory of Management. A system is a combination of interconnected components acting together to reach a certain goal in the environment. Additionally, a system can be thought of as a set of objects working together, and the connections between them are their attributes in relation to other parts of the environment. In this report, we will be looking if a system theory is a way of viewing organizations as systems, or are they made up of interdependent parts that work together to achieve common goal? Or can it be used to understand how organizations function and how they can be managed more effectively? So the systems approach to management views organizations as open system that interacts with the environment. Open systems receive inputs from the environment and produce outputs that are returned to the environment. Oh, so what does it mean? So we have a diagram here. So from the environment, the inputs are the raw materials, human resources, capital, information technologies, and so you put it on the system. The transformational process, we have in the system the employees, the work activities, management activities, operations methods, and what do we give back to the environment are the products or services, financial results, information, human results, and again, what do we have in return from those outputs from the environment? It goes back, it's about a feedback. It goes back to the inputs, and then so it's for better performance as well, and so it's for better influence that influence directly the inputs. So because it's from the feedback, the results, the outputs, and it influences the inputs once again. And if you have a good output, definitely you will have again another productions. So the environment, these components make up of internal and external factors that affects the system. So again, we have the input, a transformational process. When we have the outputs and go back, we have the feedback, and we are in that kind of environment. So we also have elements of system approach. We have the subsystem, holism, synergy, closed and open system, system boundary. This is based on the idea that organizations are systems, which means that they are made out of interdependent parts that work together. So the different elements of the system approach are all interrelated, and they all play a role in the functioning of the organization. So we have to talk about this one by one. So let's start with subsystem. So the first element is subsystem. Each organization is a system made up of a combination of many subsystems. These subsystems are interrelated. So for example, a company can be divided into many subsystems as shown in the diagram. A company, for example, will be divided or they have subsystems in the marketing department, the production department, the human resource department. The subsystems are interrelated, so they have relationship with each other, meaning they work together to achieve the goal of the company. For example, the marketing department So they need to work with the production department to ensure that products are available to meet the customer's demand. So one also example would be the university. So the university, as you notice, it is divided into subsystems. They have the system for the academic department, the student affairs department, and the financial affairs department. So, for example, the academic department needs to work with the student affairs department. That is to ensure that these students have the support they need to succeed. So they are interrelated. And next element is holism. Holism. So each subsystem works together to make up a single whole system. They work together and make up a single whole system. Decisions made in any subsystem affect the entire system. So that means as a whole. So the explanation for that is the holistic view of a system means that the whole is greater than the sum of its product. This means that decisions made in any one subsystem can have a ripple effect on the entire system. So for example, again, we have the marketing department and then they decided to launch a new advertising campaign. This could affect the productions department's ability to meet the demands of the product. So you see an action from the marketing department. So the production department is already been affected. So from the production department, then it goes on to the finance, other operations, the logistics, and also the whole management. So they work as a whole, and any decisions from one subsystem affects the whole system. And the next, the synergy. So it sounds like a sinking of energy. So maybe it's because that's the collective output of the whole system is greater than the sum of the outputs of its subsystems. So what does it mean? On my example would be synergy is the idea that the collective output is greater than the sum of the output. This means that when subsystems work together, they can achieve more than they could individually. For example, a company's marketing department once again, and they have to work with, you see, now it's work with the production department to create a product that is both innovative and affordable. So can you imagine that? Now that they will be working together, definitely it would increase in value, productivity, efficacy, and performance. Those combined efforts, ideas, and resources combined together is a positive way for any, I think it's for any companies or any products, combining the merging. Yes, it's like the merging of two products or companies, and it has a really good advantage having the synergy. And next is the closed and open system. The whole organization is an open system. Again, as mentioned earlier, that the organization is an open system made up of combination of open and closed subsystems. So we have to explain that the closed system is a system that does not interact with its environment. So nobody can enter and nobody can exit about a closed system. Instead, an open system, one in processing and then one out, and then it goes back, it has the feedback, and it's a cycle. And for example, the whole organization is an open system because it interacts, because there are interactions from the external and or with the external environment. Maybe the customers, the suppliers, the competitors, everybody, and that's is the open system. Instead, on the other hand, closed system, it doesn't want anyone to get in or anyone to go out of that kind of system. So it's quite secretive. So next element would be the system boundary. The organization is separate from the external environment made up of other systems. So as you see on this circle, the dotted circles, those are the boundaries, and it represents the boundaries. So you see, for explanation, the system boundary is the line that separates the organizations from its external environment. So it's really good to have boundaries, so you know your limitations as well. You don't go overwork, you don't go underwork, you don't make problems with other systems, because you know the boundaries that you will be working on. So the system boundary is important because it helps to define the scope of the system. For example, the company's system boundary might include its employees. So there is a boundary of the employees, boundaries on the products, the productions, and also boundaries the customers. And that's it. And also, the system also has boundaries regarding its environment for other external issues like economical issues or political issues. Those external issues, they know their boundaries as well, those organizations. And next, before we end, we will be also discussing the advantages and disadvantages of the system approach. So maybe later you can have a reading about this report, but for pointers, the advantages, the holistic view, the feedback and problem solving. So it provides a holistic view of organizations, emphasizes the importance of feedback, and can be used to solve complex problems. How? Because as a result, managers can make better decisions about how to manage the organization. You see, because he will be looking and interacting in the system as a whole. Okay, as a whole. When trying to, for example, when trying to improve profitability, a manager would need to consider the different factors that contribute to profitability, such as products, services, marketing, and operations. Again, holistic view, it's as a whole. So the managers can look at it as a whole and can also make them work together and look upon the other sub systems, from the productions, the services, the marketings, and the operations, if he will be looking for profitability. Okay, so that's the holistic view, the whole view of the system or the management. And then we also have the feedback. Why is it an advantage to have a feedback? Because this recognizes that organizations are constantly interacting with their environment, which impacts their performance. So how does it impact their performance? Adapting to changes in the environment can be done better by paying attention to feedback. For example, if a manager notices that customer satisfaction is declining, they would need to investigate the reasons for the decline, evidently, and takes steps to improve customer satisfaction. So that's the advantages of having feedbacks, as you notice on many stores maybe, or other services, offices, they're asking for the feedbacks. This is the reason why, because they would like to know things. Is it going well, or not going so good. And then next is a problem solving. So in problem solving, they can break down complex problems into smaller, more manageable parts. Managers can use this method to identify root causes of problems and to develop also solutions more likely to be successful. So for an example, a manager who is trying to solve problem with the organization's productions process, he must identify the specific causes, and develop solutions that address the causes. So specifically, so it's a smaller, and so it would be more manageable. And if he will be targeting that specific problem, because they already break down these complex problems. So we also have disadvantages of a system approach. Definitely, in contrary of yes, in contrary of the holistic view, and we have the complexity. Okay. The system approach is a complex way of thinking about organizations, and it can be difficult for managers to fully understand all of the different elements involved. This can make it difficult to implement the approach, and also to measure its effectiveness. And then it's also time consuming because the managers is required to collect all the data about all the different elements and of an organization, and this can be very time consuming process. So it would take time for the managers to implement the approach and to measure its effectiveness. And then lastly, it's costly. It's expensive to implement, as it requires managers to collect data and to develop solutions. So time is money. So can you see, it's all connected, the complexity. So looking as a whole, it would take you more time, and more time means more money to consume, to expend. So this can make it difficult for a small organization to implement the approach. So you see, it's all as a system. Either it's advantage or disadvantage. It's a system. It's all interrelated. And for this study, we'd like to commend and thank this forefathers, the primary contributors of the system theory. Chester Bernard, who introduced the concept of cooperative system in his book Functions of an Executive, that was in 1938, and Herbert Simon, an administrative behavior, it was in 1947, the concept of system process in decision making within organizations. And also Ludwig von Bertalanffy, who introduced the principles of general systems theory in 1950. So other names included in this lesson or for these studies are Lawrence J. Henderson, W. G. Scott, Daniel Katz, Robert L. Kahn, Walter Buckley, and J. D. Thompson. So you will be hearing more of these names if you'll be studying management and also systems and also the theories, everything in management. So thank you for these forefathers who shared their knowledge. And for the conclusion, we may say that system theory is a valuable tool for understanding and managing organizations. This helps managers to understand the complex interactions that take place within organizations and to make better decisions about how to manage those interactions. And it's also uh, right to say that it helps managers to understand the impact of the environment on organizations and to make better decisions on how to adapt to that impact. So references are included also under the presentations. And lastly, for management, my last words are the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's words from Peter Drucker. Thank you very much. And that's it, my report about system theory of management for MBA 612 Management for Doctoresa Josefina Genara Celebre. Thank you very much and have a great day.